Hello, Rockstar family. James Skinner here. My friends call me Bubba. Um, Video number 2 with Mr. Paul Roberts. Uh, we're going to go over how he goes about calling a list of names for people and how he recruits like that. Um, I've learned so much hearing him do these calls. That I think I almost have it down like he does it. Duplication, that's all we're about. You know, you can duplicate this guy here, man. I'm gonna tell you, you'd be sitting in his hot seat. But just to get started, tell us. I mean, take us back to when you first started doing the list of names. What did you do? How did you come up with the idea of doing this? And kind of walk us through it.
Yeah. So real quick, a list of names is, I hire you, I like you, and I say, hey, do me a favor, put 10 people on this piece of paper, name and number, and I'm going to call them. Don't worry, I'm not going to try to recruit them. I'm just going to call them and make a friend. And you don't trust me yet, and I get that. Tomorrow, I'm calling Brandon's list of names, and I want you to listen to how I do it, okay? So first and foremost, before I tell you to commit to me, I'm going to say to you, you can listen to me do it live with somebody else.
Gotcha, yeah.
And I know with everything inside of me that once you hear me, you'll be like, yeah, cool, I trust this guy. So that's what list of names is. Now, I only want 10. I hear the people say, well, I got hundreds. Well, that's great. Let's get 10, And then we're probably going to get 10 more because what's going to happen is you're probably going to give me 10 in the beginning that I don't know. But then as you hear me continue to talk to Brandon's people, and then you hear me talk to your people, you're going to say, hey, you got to call this person. Yeah. So the better people will definitely come out of the woodwork. How I started this really, it was a long time ago. It had to have been probably 12 plus years ago, maybe 13. I was in Los Angeles and Andy was on stage calling list. He was doing this. And as he was calling and doing this in front of everybody, I went, oh my God, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is right up my alley. This is me, right? He's in my wheelhouse. And so I texted my office manager at the time, Paula, and I said, hey, I'm going to start doing list of names next week, start spreading the word. She didn't even know what list of names was. And she goes, what is that? I said, just start telling everybody I'm doing a list of names. Get them excited. Get them fired up. I found something I think is going to explode us. And it did. So I got back to Dallas, and I got to the office, and I said, all right, Paula, text everybody. We had a text blasting then. That's how we did things. Text everybody and say, hey, we're going to call a list of names today. First come, first serve. Get Paul your list of people, and he will call them and help you build. Yeah. And so I didn't have the setup I have today. I didn't have the victories, right? You're starting from nothing.
He was on a rotary dial.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I was using a rotary dial, yeah. And so Paula says to me, she goes, what if nobody sends you anything? I said, I guess I'm going to train for an hour, And luckily, people started sending names in because it was like kind of a first come, first serve thing, right? I feel sorry for those people that sent me because I was horrible. I was bad. I stumbled.
That's hard to believe.
Oh, dude, I was horrible. I really wish we had a recording of how bad it was because people hear me do it today and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't be as smooth as you. A, I'm not as smooth as you think I am. And B, I didn't start off smooth at all. I was a train wreck, right? But I just kept doing it. Whatever I've set out to do, I've had a childlike faith that I'll eventually get better. And my mom says, she goes, one thing I loved about you, son, is when the new 6 weeks started, you would come to me, this is my 6 weeks. This is my time to turn it around. And I always kind of knew in the back of my head, no, it wasn't. You're still going to bring home D's and F's. But I believed. And that's what has set me up for success in so many other areas. I'd rather believe and fail and keep going and keep going and keep going as opposed to saying, well, I don't believe in myself and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I just believe. So I kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. So what do I do? What do I say?
So
yeah.
let's just, let's definitely let's let them hear what you would say. But let's say that I gave you a list of names,
Okay.
10 people, okay?
Yeah.
And you're calling my list of names.
Yes.
Okay. You start with that, like you're calling my list of names.
Okay. All right. And so I'm going to let you know right from the start, this is a process where both of you and I are involved. I'm not recruiting your friends and family.
Absolutely.
And you'll understand when I make my first phone call. Okay. This is you and I working together. So I'll call up your first person, and let's say it's, give me a name, Jim. Well, that's too close to your name. Brandon. I'll call up, I'll say, hey, Brandon, this is Paul Robertson. You're listening to me do this. You are hearing me call your people.
Now, I can't talk.
Right.
I'm
No,
just listening.
you ain't saying a word. And in the beginning, I was so nervous, I would let you talk.
Oh, Lord.
That was a mess.
I bet.
Because I had people breaking in going, man, you need to try this opportunity. It's great. I'm like, oh my God, this is falling apart on me. So I got really good over the years, and I muted you. You ain't talking. You ain't saying nothing. Because the anticipation of you wanting to get built up and say something is too high. So I would say, hey, Brandon, this is Paul Roberts, and Bubba gave me your name and number. You got 2 minutes to talk about business. Most of the people say yes to 2 minutes. And say 2 minutes, because I've tried everything, and I've said you got a chance to talk real quick. If you don't put a time frame on it, people will say no. So I said, do you got 2 minutes to talk about business? Most people say yes. And so he says yes, and I say, okay, Brandon, here's the deal. We sit with customers that ask us to sit with them. Bubba thought you might be able to help us. And each time we get them taken care of, on average, make about $800 a pop. And just curious if you can help us full-time or part-time. And I shut up. And I don't mention what we do, because I kind of want to know, is he listening to me?
Absolutely.
And B, if he comes back and says, what do y'all do? Well, here's the great news. I can overcome that objection because I know what we do. Mm-hmm. I have always been a person that puts objections out there and creates objections that I can overcome. I can overcome that objection. I've been doing this for a while. So hopefully Brandon says, yeah, tell me more. What is it y'all do? And then I just simply edify him. I say, hey, thank you for asking. What we do is we work in the financial services industry. And that allows me to pause and say, what are you doing for money right now, Brandon? Because now we're playing catch. He asked me a question. I'm throwing it back and asking him a question.
Gotcha.
Right? As opposed to, hey, Bubba wants me to chat with you. What do you do for money? Well, we're not friends yet. We don't know yet. I haven't given him any information. We're not there. So we're just playing catch. And he says, I'm doing Uber. I don't care what he says. If he is working, if the man is working, I'm going to thank him for working. I'm going to say, man, thank you for working. I unfortunately have talked to a lot of lazy people that say they're just sitting around doing nothing. Right. So thanks for being out there. I'm pretty sure that's why Bubba gave me your number, because we're looking for people that can work. Work builds character. And so glad you asked. What we do is work in the financial services industry. Mm-hmm. We sell a very simple life insurance product that we're going to teach you, and it's not going to take you long at all to learn this insurance product. Once you learn that very simple life insurance product, you're going to go out and sit with customers, make about $800 a pop. We offer a lot more, Brandon. We offer every product you could possibly imagine, but to get started, we're going to start with simplicity. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what he's going to say. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay, great. So what I'd like for you to do is get back with Bubba and let him know your interest. And let me tell you something. We are so excited that we have Bubba on our team. Bubba is probably one. I haven't known him long, but he's one of the hardest workers we got. He's always smiling. He's got this childlike faith that I had when I started this, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that just have this spirit of gratitude, like Bubba, to join our team. And chances are, if you know Bubba, you probably have that same spirit of gratitude. Most of the time when I'm talking great about you, they interrupt me and say, and you've heard them do this, and they say, yep, that describes Bubba.
Yeah.
And again, I respond back. I said, thank you for saying that, because that's what we thought. We thought we were correct, but so thank you for just reminding us that. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so it just becomes this fun atmosphere of me building you up, building him up. And, you're more attractable when you're doing that. As opposed to, hey, Brand, Paul Roberts here. Bubba gave me your name and number. I make a lot of money. I'm really good at this. I'm great. I'm awesome. Man, no one can beat me. And just blah, 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 blah. They've tuned out, man. Yeah. They got enough of that garbage in social media. And so instead, I pull him closer because I'm talking great about you. People like people that like people. People love people that love people. People follow people that follow people. Bottom line.
Yeah.
And so he's drawing in closer. He's listening to me. I'm able to edify him even more and edify you. So what I love about calling list of names is this. One, if you call Brandon your buddy and start talking to him, y'all have to have a 40-minute conversation of how's your mom, how's your brother, depending on how long y'all have talked. It's been a while.
Yeah.
You got a lot of talking to do. And we got 40 to 45 minutes of nothing, right? Then at the end of that 45 minutes, you get to say the dreaded words that Brandon doesn't want to hear, and that is, hey, the reason I'm calling.
Yeah.
And at that moment, Brandon's like, son of a gun.
There goes the wall.
I thought Bubba was calling to be seeing how I was doing. I thought it was genuine. I thought it was real. The whole time I knew it. He's calling for something, you know? So he's shut down. He ain't hearing you no more, right? And with me, this is crazy. It'll take you probably a couple of weeks to call 10 people. I can knock it out in about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And yes, it's 2 hours because when I get a person on the phone, we talk for a while. And then people, call me back. So it takes a little while. But here's the great news. I get the opportunity out in like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what we do. We sit with customers. It's a simple product. 45 seconds, the product's out. And the other thing I get to do that you cannot do is I get to build you up. I get to say, hey, we're excited to have Bubba on this team. He's got this childlike faith that I had when I started. I just dig it. I think he's going to be very successful. And so you can't call Brandon and say, hey, by the way, these guys really dig me.
Yeah.
They think I'm bad to the bone.
Right.
They think I'm the man, and you should join me. You're going to sound stupid.
Yeah.
I think it's in the Bible somewhere you shouldn't do that. Somewhere you shouldn't brag about yourself or boast about yourself, right? And so I get to do that. I get to brag about you. And so his ears and his heart are open to listening to me, whereas with you, he's going to do a little bit of this. So it just works.
So when you're edifying the person that gave you this list, and and you go into what we do. I mean, you can make $800 a pop every time you sit with a client, and the person says to you, "Man, I could do that. Yeah, it sounds like something I could probably do."
Yeah.
What do you do then?
Okay. I don't rush. I don't get overexcited.
I could probably see a lot of people doing that.
A lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. And so I don't get overexcited. I just say, okay, cool. And I'll probably just ask you more questions about your background. Are you married? You got kids, dogs, cats? What's going on? Just get to know you a little bit more.
Rapport building kind of stuff.
Total rapport building. And really, it falls into my wheelhouse. And I read this from Maxwell one day. Maxwell said, one of the greatest gifts you can ever give yourself is genuinely learning about another person. And I love doing that because when I do that so often, I realize that I'm not as jacked up as I thought I was. Because I talk to somebody else, I'm going, okay, well, you got issues too. I got issues. We all got issues. So I need to quit living in my head of issues because you got them as bad as I do.
We all have a story.
We all have a story. And so I just take my time. I'm very patient. I can't say I was that way in the beginning. In the beginning, I was probably, oh, man, cool, let's get your contract. Let's get you this. And I probably just, snowballed them. Instead, it's more of a laid-back approach, and then eventually I'll just say, again, please get with Bubba. Yeah. He's the one that I really want you to hear from him of what he's doing. And then I instruct you and tell you what to say. I tell you to tell him, hey, listen, I'm in the trenches with you. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm excited about this. I'm going somewhere. This is big. I'm fired up.
Now, would you instruct me to edify you right back?
Yeah. So, yeah, this is where you and I got to play catch now. This is another thing I learned from Maxwell is we're transferring influence. I gave you influence when I talked to him and said, we're fired up. He's on the team.
Yeah.
We're fired up. He's part of our family. Then when he calls you, you give that influence back. Hey, man, I like this guy. I don't know why yet. It's the stuff I said about Fitz. When I would talk to my friends, I'm like, I don't know. There's just something genuine about this dude. I can't quite figure it out. I mean, I met Fitz, and he was literally at a cardboard table. He was wearing a sports jacket that was too small, but none of that mattered because I look at it, dude, something's up with this guy. Yeah, something's right. And so when you build me back up, then when I talk to Brandon, I get to say things like, hey, do me a favor. Go ahead and get studied. Go ahead and schedule your test. Go ahead and knock that out. And he'll listen because you've given me influence.
Now, one of the things that we do, we have a unbelievably awesome coaching call.
Yeah.
Would you invite a new recruit like that says, hey, I think I could do something like that? Would you invite them to that call to listen to the other people that are actually successful?
Amen. 100%, without a doubt. And you know, we get about 70 people on the call a day. There's probably another 10 that they're all brand new, all brand new. And I love it because it allows them to take a peek behind the screen of who we really are.
Yeah.
We can't hide. There's no hiding from that. You know, we're very vulnerable. We're very real. We train on everything. I mean, literally everything. And it's not one of those boring training calls where we just have one person talking and this is step 1, step 2, step 3. And so I really want them to get a peek behind the curtain. And that's what I'll tell them. Hey, come, or I'll tell you to tell them that. Hey, why don't you just jump on tomorrow at 10 a.m.? Listen, hang on for 15 minutes if you want. It's only 30.
Yeah.
Some days it's 20, you know, but we don't go over 30 minutes. And jump on and just listen and just kind of take a peek of who we are and see if this is a group of people you want to hang out with. Yeah. And if they like the call and they like the people and the way that and our motto is this, we don't accept credit. You know, if someone says to me, hey, Paul, your business is doing good, I'll look them straight in the eye and say, the only reason it's doing good is because I got someone like Bubba in my life. Bubba is crushing it right now. The only reason I'm doing good right now is because I got G in my life. The only reason I'm doing good right now is because I got Phil in my life. Bottom line, you know, the only reason I'm doing good right now is because I got Kelly in my life. Bottom line, and that's it.
Yeah.
I got this guy, Mike Williams and Kerry Williams, man. I can't survive without them. So our deal is about giving credit away. And when people see that, that's welcoming, man.
Yeah.
Man, they want in on that.
That's good stuff.
They want in on it. It's very, very hard to break into NASCAR. And people with a boatload of money have tried. A boatload. I can name people that have tried to get into NASCAR and have failed miserably. Mm-hmm. There's a new NASCAR team that came out 2 years ago, and they are crushing it. And one of the owners is Pitbull. And here's why they're crushing it. Because they said what I just said. And I got chills when I heard him say it. They said, number one, we give credit away. Yeah. So if you go to the front tire changer and say, man, you did a great job today, you were amazing, he will pass the credit to somebody else. And that team, usually it takes a long time for a team to get going in NASCAR. And most of them go broke. Seriously, because it's a lot of money.
I imagine.
And not only are they not going broke, they're winning races. And that ain't easy to do at top level. Yeah. You can do it in sprint and in trucks, but not on Sundays. And they're killing it. And you can just feel it when they're talking. The driver gets out of the car and he immediately passes the buck to somebody else. And the whole team feels that way. And guess what? They all work harder. And everybody they just can't wait to work for the team.